Hi, John. So this is Carnage, and I'm going to show you my contribution towards the game I have made so far. Right, to start off, we had a problem with input jitter. Well, I called it input jitter there. I have a task list here, so I'll just take a second so you can have a look at it. You can pause it if you want. This is what I'm going to be talking about today. Right, okay. So starting with input jitter, we had a problem with inputs, and what I did was I went to input manager and I was thinking, well, input samples, input sample rate so far that we have was set to 0.033, which was not enough for the movement to be updated smoothly. So what I did instead was use a different value of 0.003. There's a reason for using a smaller number, was because that there is more updates that happen a second. But at the same time, I tried to not use a very small number because I knew that would make the server choke. That would make the game freeze up over time because the server would be focused on handling inputs rather than doing other things. It would have no time to focus on other things. And yeah, so I did that, and then that was the network manager client. Give me a sec. Network manager client. Yeah, so I also changed the time between input packets, and time between hellos remains the same. It hasn't get changed. So input samples and input packets got changed. That's number one. Another thing I did was in player client 5, I think it was there. Yeah, so instead of using a 10% interpolation, I used a 15% interpolation just because uh, uh, basically if we have sorry, my brain's not working. Right. If we were to use 10%, that means it would correct it 10% every frame. Now I did 15, so I made the updates a little bit more persistent when it comes to movement. I just wanted to make movement seem a little bit more cleaner and smoother. All right, so respawning. I also did respawning for this. So in player server, there's is last man standing. Actually, that's not in player server. No. Sorry, I just have to have it written down here. SF render manager. Yeah, so instead of looking for the previous thing that you did, what I do now is I check that if any of the players' score is greater than 10, then the game will be over. I also did a lot of refactoring on magic numbers and all that to make the game a little bit more configurable. So respawn player, network manager. One sec. So respawn player. Yeah, so first in client proxy, we have respawn player if necessary. It's just a timed loop that just it will respawn a player if a respawn player is called. So I just have to find the respawn players. There, respawn players. So it iterates the client map, and then it gets the client proxy pointer for it, and it respawns it. It just calls a respawn if it needs to be respawned. And then spawn player or player will be called in the end, which will basically spawn the player when needed. There. So in respawn player if necessary, we will spawn a player. The timer is up. Time respawn, which is defined time to respawn. Anyway, continuing on, I don't want to waste time on this. Right. Okay. So, and then I added player score. So this was in HUD. So in HUD, I added update. Well, update score just takes the score string, but here we have draw scoreboard. It draws a score on top of the game. I will show you all this in game. Basically, it gets gets the entry. It uses this scoreboard manager, which was already here. And then it just basically gets the score and prints it to the screen, and draws it to the screen, and you'll be able to see your own score. You won't. It's like you don't see any other people's score, but it yourself. We used to have a bug where if you went into lava and died, it would increment your score, and that was fixed. Right, add score, counter, and UI. Yeah, so everything is in HUD CPP. I added the score there. Thing obstacles, yeah, this is like a big chunk of what I did. So I added an obstacle. I followed the whole idea of pickup game object. Also in game object, I added a new method called handle collision with game object, which was basically I wanted a more generic collision detection because I needed to check collisions for bullets and obstacles. So yeah, I created obstacle.cpp. So here we have collisions with player, collisions with object, and then I was thinking maybe in future we can have different obstacle types. So there we go. For draw, we don't need to declare anything, it gets overridden. Well, it gets called natively. And then some writing for writing into the output stream. Some methods for writing into output stream, writing the position and the type. Since our obstacles are indestructible, there is no point of sending health across or anything. So this will minimize the amount of stuff that is being sent in the packet, which is really good for our game, which means we're sending less stuff. Obviously, in constants, every time I try to add something, I try to add stuff with the smallest amount, smallest type. So, for example, for fonts, like uint8 is perfect because like the number that we use here won't ever get large enough. So I use that. For stuff like using shorts for view width, using floats for camera follow. Actually, Michael did that. Like stuff for score. Score will never really get high, like over a million numbers. So that's fine. We can keep it that way. Vector2f. This is actually not being sent across the network, so I was able to use some native SFML types like vector and color. Same for float. I wasn't worried about data types here because this is all on the client and it's not being sent across. For even for debug, like positions, colors, and all that. But when it comes to same with this. Same with this. Yeah, I also added an obstacle type, which is just a crate, an obstacle count, but obviously in the future we'll be able to add in more obstacles, which is great because this means we won't have to recode everything. Continuing on, because I'm very short on time, I'm using Screencast-O-Matic, so it's 15-minute time limit. Object replication, obstacle replication state. Just one sec. Obstacle replication. Yeah, so I added obstacle replication state. This will be used for replicating stuff on the client and the server side. And all I'm sending across is the position, the type, and just an OR between all states, just to determine which state is which. Continuing on, obstacles type. Yeah, so the types are generic, which means all new obstacles can be added. Spawn random obstacles inside the map. This happened on server. So if I go to server, core, server, setup world, oh there, namespace, create obstacle. So I just create obstacle, I create a shared point in obstacle, and I basically value it to be a static pointer cast, which creates a game object with the 4-character code OBST, which means obstacle, which I added in earlier on. Registry, yeah, it won't be here, it will be in a different file. Then I set the location and all that. And then in setup world, I just iterate obstacle spawn count, which is in our case 15. We spawned 15 obstacles at the start of the game, and it creates an obstacle on the map. All right, collision detection response, player server. Player server, oh my god. Sorry about this. So I've realized in player server we had code for collisions. Oh, not player server, sorry. Player.cpp. There. So we have collisions, and this was added by the shadow game from the previous one. And all I did was actually didn't touch this. I just enabled it for it to detect collisions on the player. And then in the case of bullets, I had to basically, for bullets, sorry for this, the bullet server, I have a check here. So if the object is not itself, and if the object ID is OBST, we want to set it to die, and then obstacle server, I basically, actually, this part, the obstacle, the bullet server part didn't work. This one was the one that worked. This took me a while to fix, but I got it in the end. And then obviously generic handle collision with game object. Just before, I just don't have enough time to talk about completely everything because I want to show the game, but here, I'll just quickly mention this. So I refactored magic numbers, not all of them, but a massive chunk of them. I disabled the HUD on the win state, so whenever you win, HUD is not displayed. We still have the bug wherever if the winner gets stuck on the winner screen, but the rest of the players can respawn. But Ryan is looking into that as part of his scoreboard state feature, so he'll fix that. I adjusted collision radii. Since we're using circles, this was very ineffective for crates and stuff, but it works very well with other things. Players collide with each other as well. I also reduced kickback in an attempt to fix the rotation bug. The rotation bug I'll show you in the game. We have bugs like obstacles can still spawn on top of each other, on top of pickups, and on top of players. Winning state doesn't end the game. That's something Ryan is working on. Collisions use circle, not suitable for crates. That's our obstacles. And movement jitter, which was fixed. Right, so I have a server running downstairs on my computer right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the game here, and I'm gonna show you. Oh, I think I bugged out the game. Just one sec. Dude. What is happening? All right, just one sec. This PC, Karnage, releases client